The stage lights blazed in every direction, cameras zoomed in, and the crowd leaned forward as if the entire auditorium shared the same breath. No one expected what would happen next. Two identical shadows slowly approached the center of the massive America's Got Talent stage, moving in perfect sync, their steps soft but certain, as if they belonged there. Judges whispered to one another, trying to guess who or what was coming. And in the next few moments, the audience would witness something so unbelievable, so unexpectedly powerful, that people watching from home would later swear the moment felt like a glitch in reality. Double trouble, double magic, twin auditions that left every judge absolutely speechless. And today, we're diving into the full story. Before we begin, welcome back to the channel, where we bring you the most heart-touching, jaw-dropping, emotional and unbelievable moments ever seen on AGT. If you love stories that pull you in, performances that give you chills, and unexpected twists that stay in your heart long after the video ends, make sure you watch till the end, because today's story will not only shock you, it will stay with you forever. Imagine the pressure of walking onto the most intimidating stage in the world. Now multiply it by 2. That's exactly what happened when the Thompson twins stepped into the glowing spotlight. Dressed in matching denim jackets, wearing the same hopeful smiles but different levels of quiet fear in their eyes, these 15-year-old brothers were about to face a panel that included Simon Cowell himself. And even though they looked identical, their personalities couldn't have been more different. Lucas was confident, playful, and always ready to charm. Meanwhile, Liam stood slightly behind him, shy, thoughtful, almost trying to disappear into the moment. But even as they stood under the bright lights of the AGT stage, something connected them, a kind of silent language only twins understand. The judges looked at them with curiosity. The audience whispered loudly enough that the sound echoed. Were they singers, dancers, musicians, or something completely unexpected? No one knew. The room filled with tension, like a bow being pulled before release. When Simon leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk, his eyes sharp with interest, Lucas swallowed hard. His voice trembled slightly as he said they were going to perform something they created together, something unique, something they had never shown anyone at school or online. The crowd buzzed again. Even Heidi raised her eyebrows. A twin act with original work. That could either be a disaster or a once-in-a-lifetime miracle. But before they performed, Simon asked the question he always asks when he senses a deeper story beneath the surface. He asked them why they were here. Lucas started to answer, but it was Liam's voice, barely above a whisper, that changed the entire energy of the room. He said they lost their dad 2 years ago. He said music was how they coped. He said their dad used to call them double trouble, but only in the most loving way. He said they promised their dad they would always stick together, no matter what, and that this performance was for him. The entire auditorium fell silent. You could practically hear hearts breaking. Even Simon Cowell's expression softened, just slightly, the way it does when he feels a story connect to something deep inside him. And then, the stage lights dimmed. A single spotlight hit the floor, casting long shadows behind the twins. The music started, soft, rhythmic, echoing with a kind of heartbeat pulse. Lucas stepped forward with a microphone, while Liam took the keyboard placed to the side. And as the melody blossomed into a beautiful emotional swell, their voices joined. In perfect harmony, not rehearsed harmony, not typical twin synchronization, but the kind of harmony only siblings who've experienced the same pain, the same love, the same memories could produce. Lucas's voice was smooth and steady. Liam's voice was fragile but pure, almost trembling with emotion. Together, they created something magical. The lyrics spoke of loss, love, and holding on. They sang about being two halves of the same soul, about missing the person who made them whole, about promising to live in a way that would make him proud. Every word struck like lightning. The judges didn't blink. The audience blinked back tears. People watching from backstage stood still, hands covering their mouths. But the real moment, the moment that made this performance legendary, came near the end of the song. As the music softened again, Lucas suddenly stepped back, nodded at his brother, and let Liam take the spotlight alone. And for the very first time in his life, on the biggest stage in the world, Liam sang a solo. His voice cracked on the first note, not because he was off pitch, but because he was scared. The entire auditorium held its breath. And then something absolutely beautiful happened. Lucas walked behind him, placed a hand gently on his shoulder, and without saying a single word, he gave Liam the courage he needed. Liam's voice strengthened. His tone became warmer, deeper, more emotional. And by the time he reached the final line, "Dad, we're still double trouble, and we're still singing for you," the auditorium erupted. Thunderous applause, screams, people standing on their feet, some waving their hands in the air, some wiping tears from their cheeks. Even the judges were stunned. Heidi had both hands over her heart. Sophia whispered, "Wow," more than once. Howie nodded with approval, impressed by their songwriting and presence. But it was Simon's reaction that stole the moment. He leaned back, smiling in that rare, soft, genuine way, the way he only smiles when he sees something truly special. He told them their dad would be incredibly proud. He said they had something not even the best training in the world could create, a natural, emotional connection that cannot be faked. Just when the audience thought the moment couldn't get any more intense, Simon pressed his button. Not the red one, the golden one. A bright explosion of glittering gold filled the entire auditorium. It rained down over the twins as they hugged each other tightly, both in tears, their voices drowned in the sound of the crowd screaming. Their mom ran from backstage, her face drenched in tears. She wrapped her arms around her sons as the golden confetti continued to pour from the ceiling, creating one of the most unforgettable scenes in AGT history. But this wasn't the only twin act that left the judges speechless. Another pair of twins stepped onto the stage weeks later, and the world was not ready for what they were about to bring. This time, they were not singers. They were dancers, but calling them dancers would be an understatement. They were more like two halves of one mind. When they moved, they didn't look like two people, they looked like a single reflection dancing across reality. Their names were Mia and Maya Rivera, 13-year-old sisters with matching braids, matching sneakers, and matching confidence radiating from every step. They walked onto the stage with playful smiles, exchanging tiny nods to reassure each other. Sophie asked if they were nervous, and Mia answered that they were more excited than scared. Maya added that dancing together was like breathing, they didn't think, they just moved. And when the music started, it was as if electricity shot through their bodies. Their choreography wasn't normal, it wasn't safe, it wasn't typical. Their routine combined slow-motion illusions with lightning-fast transitions. Their arms moved like liquid. Their legs kicked like machines. They spun, dropped, popped, locked, and floated with such impossible precision that Simon blinked twice, trying to see if his eyes were tricking him. But the moment that shocked the world came near the end of their performance. The twins ran toward each other, jumped, twisted in midair, and switched positions so perfectly that the audience gasped. People watching at home later replayed the moment frame by frame, trying to understand how they did it. It looked unreal, like they teleported. Even the judges were stunned. Howie called it one of the most original dance acts he'd seen in years. Sophia said it felt like watching two superheroes. Heidi said it was hypnotic, magical, unforgettable. But Simon said something different. He said the world had never seen anything like them. And when the audience started chanting, "Golden, golden, golden," Simon looked at the crowd, looked back at the twins, and smiled. But this time, he didn't press the golden buzzer. He let Heidi do it instead. The moment her hand slammed down, the entire auditorium exploded into celebration. Gold burst across the stage once again, but this time the twins kept dancing even as confetti fell around them. It was as if they were performing inside a dream. Both twin acts were unforgettable. Both left the judges stunned. Both made history. And both proved something incredibly powerful, that talent becomes magic when shared with someone who understands you completely. But the most powerful twin audition came during the live shows, when all acts returned to compete for a place in the finals. It was the Thompson twins' turn again. This time, they weren't just singing for their dad, they were singing for the millions of people who connected to their story. They walked onto the stage with a calm confidence they didn't have before. They looked stronger. They looked like performers. They looked like two boys who understood that their moment wasn't just luck, it was destiny. The stage design was breathtaking. A giant glowing tree stood behind them, representing growth, strength, and memory. Golden lights flickered like fireflies around their silhouettes. When they began singing, the audience felt the difference immediately. Their voices were deeper, stronger, more polished. Their harmonies locked together like puzzle pieces. But the most beautiful change was Liam. He took the lead more often. His voice no longer trembled. It soared, and during the bridge of their song, something magical happened again. Lucas stepped aside once more and let Liam shine. He didn't do it for sympathy. He didn't do it because it worked the first time. He did it because that's what brothers do. They lift each other. They share the spotlight. The crowd loved it. People cried. People cheered. People raised their phones in the air, recording a moment they knew was special. When the song ended, the judges didn't speak for a few seconds. They just stared, stunned. Simon told them they were ready for a world tour. Heidi said their confidence had blossomed beautifully. Sophia said they were storytellers, not just singers. Howie said they were the act to beat. And once again, the internet exploded with love for the twins. People posted their story everywhere. Their audition videos went viral. Their performances trended globally. Fans wrote thousands of comments about how the twins gave them hope, how they reminded them of their own siblings, and how deeply their music touched them. Then it was the Rivera twins' turn. Their live performance was even more incredible than their audition. They danced on a stage filled with mirrors, creating illusions that looked computer-generated even though everything was performed live. Their movements were sharper, their transitions smoother, their synchronization flawless. But the best moment came at the end when they performed a move called the mirror break. They danced in front of reflective panels, and at the perfect moment, those mirrors shattered into LED particles, making it look like they had broken reality itself. Everyone screamed, everyone stood, everyone clapped until their hands hurt. The judges gave them standing ovations. Simon said the performance reminded him why he created AGT in the first place. Heidi said she felt like she was watching future superstars. Howie said it was one of the best dance routines ever performed on the show. Sophia agreed and said they could easily win the whole competition. Even backstage, other contestants hugged them, congratulated them, and admitted they had witnessed something historic. Both twin acts dominated the season. Both changed the game. Both created moments that fans would talk about for years. In the end, these performances weren't just about talent. They were about connection, about love, about loss, about courage, about support, about siblings standing together through every fear, every victory, every heartbreak. Double trouble, double heart, double magic. Twins who stepped onto the stage as nervous kids but walked off as legends.